Akshay, did you always knew what you wanted to do when you passed out from MBA?
I was all over the place. Saurabh, what about you?
यार मेरे को तो तब भी आइडिया नहीं था, आज भी आइडिया नहीं है.
Confused about your career choices? Wondering what steps to take next? In this podcast called Beyond Campus, Saurabh Garg, founder of C4E, and Akshay Dutt, founder of Unnati, are on a mission to crack open the career success code for the youth. वो बचपन में कहते थे ना, तुम जो चाहे बन सकते हो. So, let's turn the dream into reality.
I am Bharat Sethi. I'm the founder and CEO of Rage Coffee.
My addiction for coffee is like most of them out there. I can't expect myself to start a day without that hot cup of freshly brewed black beans. While I have never been specific about what brand I should choose for my daily consumption, there's one that's been on the rage ever since it entered the industry. For those who couldn't understand that pun, I'm talking about the very popular brand that goes with the name Rage Coffee. Its founder, Bharat Sethi, was only 16 when he started his first online business, and he has scaled to very successful businesses since. But more than anything else, Bharat is a fantastic model for an inspirational and aspirational leader. And his ideas, thoughts, and perceptions in this episode of Beyond Campus is nothing less than a masterclass for all the future CEOs out there. Here's Bharat talking about how it all started.
For me personally, I was always, I was academically very bright. I was always doing a lot of other things apart from study. So I was so to speak, a leader. Even in school, I would, do something. If I set my eyes on something, I would probably go and get it. For example, I remember this story where I was, this incident where I was trying to compete in high jump competition, and I'd never done high jumps before. So I, tried, and that there were 2 days about training, and the third day was the competition. So I went in and tried, and won that, and I was about in fourth grade at this time. So sports was a very interesting. Sports was my first love. Actually, I just studied so that my mom could allow me to go and play football. So it was, football happened to be my first love, and running. I was an athlete. I have over 18 gold medals from my school journey. It was the closest. Athletics was closest to me, and academically, because since I was bright, I think I could not pursue a career in sports. Too fervently, because of obviously, growing up in the Indian families, the idea, was always to get the education first and then to go into any kind of other extra co-curriculars. But for me, it was also about, I was very independent from the, go, because my mom continues to tell me, so many times that I could not teach you. You were not somebody who could be controlled. My teachers in my school would write these remarks in my diaries, which would be great, excellent, satisfactory, but very impatient, or always creating some kind of a nuisance. So I was always the one who would want to pursue extracurriculars, want to do all of that, and because I wanted to do all of that, and my conditions in the house were not, were kind of strict. So I had to study, and because I was good in studies, I ended up, giving up, or ended up not pursuing a career in sports, so to speak. I was also very good at quizzing, again something that was very close to me. But yeah, more or less, I think because all of these incidents and all of these interest areas made me into a leader. I was the head boy of my school, for example, and that inculcated a self belief in me, which told me that taking a path very early on just gave me more confidence that taking a path which is less trodden or less pursued could result in some great things. And then this is why I think entrepreneurship came to me quite naturally. I always wanted to do something of my own, because the word startup registered in my mind very, very early on, probably in 11th grade, when I started something on the side, in 2005 6.
So, class 11th, you started your first business or startup. So, how did that happen?
That was something unplanned completely. My cousin brother, was in the US, and he was in India, and he was using his iPod. And I looked at his iPod and said, "What is this device?" I had never seen an iPod before, and it was the big one, I think the 60 GB something, one which was quite heavy, and I put it in my ears, and I'm like, wow, this is magic. I use my Walkman, and I have to go to my laptop, desktop to listen to music, I have to put a CD to listen to music. This is insane. This is phenomenal. And that's when he told me that he got it on eBay. eBay was the new buzzword in the US, and then he told me about how people are selling on it. And he then basically had an account on eBay, and he started trading art pieces. We used to import art pieces, and we used to. It was for a very very short time period, but it was basically just understanding how trading works. On the side, I also started understanding in a very limited way, but the idea of internet started to penetrate my mind, power of kind of channel to sell online. See all the challenges in traditional business that I used to see my dad, my family's kind of struggle with, which was they had no time ever. They could never give time for their kids. They have work and unka kaam was 12 hours, 10 hours standing jobs. They were in retail. They had a very difficult working environment, so to speak. मुश्किल काम था. अब वही काम को ऑटोमेट कर दो और आप बैकएंड से कर रहे हो, but you are getting the entire market as you know. That idea, I very clearly remember that penetrated through me in my 11th grade, but I could not do much about it because.
Which year was this?
This is 2005-06.
And this was the India site of eBay. Like eBay had launched in India by then?
No. This was all done through the US.
Acha. So you were selling to Americans, like the artwork?
Yes.
And how were you managing the logistics of it? Like
they were shipping partners. He had figured it all out. It was very upcoming in the US, and also the idea of being the seller. The power that a seller has, because now that I know, there was a lot of inventory-led models before that in e-commerce. But अब एक seller को आपने power दे दी कुछ भी बेचने का online, you create a market. The idea of marketplaces kind of started to take prominence at that time.
So why didn't you continue that? मतलब उसमें कमाई हो रही थी क्या?
कमाई उस टाइम पे ना, कमाई से ज्यादा आई थिंक आइडिया एक 1.5 लाख रुपए कुछ बने थे टोटल 8-10 महीने में, आई रिमेम्बर करेक्टली. बट उसको परस्यू करने का यू अंडरस्टैंड, आई वाज अ किड. आई हैड नो आइडिया अबाउट बिजनेस, अबाउट द बेसिक्स ऑफ बिजनेस, अबाउट एनीथिंग. ये माल लेने देना ये सब घर में देखा था, सबको देखा था आसपास करते हुए, तो पता था कि कैसे करते हैं. तो उसमें कुछ रॉकेट साइंस लगती नहीं थी कि और कोई सपोर्ट देने वाला हो जिसको एक्सपीरियंस है, उसको पता है क्या करना है. तो इट वाज नेवर कि बिजनेस बनाना. इट वाज ऑलवेज अबाउट बीइंग एबल टू स्पेंड टाइम. अभी क्या होता है, पॉकेट मनी, पॉकेट मनी, क्यूरियस माइंड. अब क्यूरियस माइंड को कैसे रोको? अब किसका दिमाग चलता रहता है फुल टाइम. अब क्यूरियस माइंड लाइक माइंड एट लीस्ट एट दैट टाइम वाज लेट्स ट्राई समथिंग एल्स, लेट्स डू समथिंग एल्स. लेट्स डिसीजन होता है उसका या नहीं. आई थिंक क्वेश्चन था ही नहीं. वो अभी somebody, for example, calling me for a football match somewhere in 50 kilometers from my place, I will go. I will not ask what, where, कैसे है, क्या है, इतना they were bets at that time, कितना पैसा लगाना है, नहीं लगाना. तो just चले जाते थे उठ के, कोई गाड़ी में लिया, चले गए उठ के खेलने. तो वो एक क्यूरियस माइंड का एक आई थिंक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर भी है एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में, कि यार उसे उसमें भी बोलते हैं यार कर्म करो, फल की चिंता मत करो. तो मेरा वही हिसाब था उस टाइम, कर्म करते रहो, फल क्या है नहीं है चिंता नहीं करता था. तो वो इंटरेस्टिंग था. एंड क्यों रोक दिया, क्यों बंद कर दिया, वो था ही नहीं कोई बंद करने वाली चीज है, चलाने वाली चीज. इट वाज ऑलवेज ऑन द साइड. As my boards came, as academics took over, it was just faded away.
Which college did you join?
I joined Hansraj. So Hansraj is in the North Campus in Delhi University. The college experience was fantastic. I would say बहुत मजा आया कॉलेज में. I think सबसे बड़ी जो चीज होती है एक कॉलेज की, जो आपको कॉलेज और यूनिवर्सिटी सिखा सकती है, वो है एक्सपोजर टू डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स इन लाइफ, डिफरेंट माइंडसेट्स, different kind of people, different personality types. It is possibly a very good crash course in life, overall life. तो एक कल्चरल एस्पेक्ट आप सीख सकते हो कॉलेज में जाके. बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं जो कॉलेज आपको दे सकता है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम ओनली प्योर academics. In my case was that in 2 months, 3 months I realized this is not for academics, क्योंकि जो पढ़ना है खुद पढ़ना है. और वो हमारे, and then I started to talk to my people, my friends from school who had joined IITs, who had joined other courses in Delhi University. सबका यूनानिमस जो एक वो था, क्या कॉलेज में कोई पढ़ाई तो होती नहीं है, कोई पढ़ाता तो है नहीं, मतलब ये क्या सुना था, कहाँ आ गए हैं. We thought that college this thing would be completely something out of this world. People would be teaching us something, some rocket science. But पता चलता है जाके कि यार कॉलेज में तो कुछ पढ़ाता ही नहीं, कोई सब कुछ खुद पढ़ना है, तो कॉलेज का एक एक्सपोजर और एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू कहाँ से ले. So वो कॉलेज तो went by like really fast. I was doing a lot of extracurriculars. I was in the theatre society. I was playing football. Doing a lot of things for the first time. Exposure to music and became a cinephile. क्योंकि बहुत movies देख रहा था उस time पे. So first 2 years went by like this, and I scored above average in all of these 2 years and all of the exams. Never scored badly, but never scored exceptionally well, because in a class of 40, 45, you had people, who were a lot of people who were mabgoos, who would rectify and all scores where you have to rectify a lot. तो वैसा समझ नहीं आता था कभी भी कुछ, तो उसने इंटरेस्ट लिया नहीं honestly कभी उस लाइफ की फर्स्ट बेंच पे बैठ के पढ़ना. स्कूल में भी नहीं किया था कभी, तो यहाँ पे भी नहीं समझ आया. बट यहाँ पे लाइफ ऐसे बदली कि विद स्कूल यू आर विद पीपल हु यू नो फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. So there is some level of, यहाँ पे टीचर आती है, हर कोर्स के लिए एक अलग टीचर है, 2 महीने 3 महीने पढ़ाया. there is no connection with the टीचर को कोई लेना देना है नहीं खास. जो टॉप 10% फर्स्ट बेंचर्स हैं, जिनको फंडामेंटली PhD करने में इंटरेस्ट है, and they have figured it out, because in such a course in these top colleges you will only see people who are very very sure of why they are doing economics. I only realized later when I went there कि मुझे तो पता नहीं था मेरे economics करने की. But interesting था. I told you, मेरे लिए सबसे interesting part कॉलेज का था the perspectives I gathered, the kind of people I met, the kind of exposure I got. I went for this trip to Russia in 2010, second year of my college. Good 1 month long summer school I did there. Fantastic experience. मतलब वो exposure life में अगर इतना जल्दी आपको मिल जाए, आपके you start seeing life from different lens. You start seeing life with a lens which very few can get, and that is one of the biggest reasons for entrepreneurship and my jump to actually. Because go to 2010, I was in Europe and I was traveling solo. I was traveling alone. Bunch of friends who were also not really friends, because I was meeting them for the first time there on the trip itself. But you reach there and you realize how backward we are. Where are we? As India, what are we doing? We have so much potential, but our universities are not accepted anywhere. They are not recognized anywhere. Our courses our way of methodology of teaching is so 19th century, and our everything, our retail is so poor. We don't have options. वहाँ पे एक चॉकलेट का 50 options पड़े, यहाँ पे 2 options पड़े हैं. मतलब I'm telling you, उस टाइम पे क्या लगता था? टाइम पे these, and it started to make a real difference to me. Why can't we have all of this? Why can't India do better, or let's say even close? I remember I came back and I used to tell everyone हम तो 50 साल पीछे हैं, that हम इतने पीछे हैं कि उसको गैप को कम करने के लिए we need some magic. And that to me, then I think second year later on, it became very clear to me that I wanted to do something of my own, but I did not have the resources, and my family also took me a job and see how it works. In third year, I started working for this lady who used to write content pieces. And 2011, internet is still unrelatable phenomena to maximum people in it. So internet पे articles लिखने हैं, content create करना है, and SEO करना है companies के लिए. And then per word कुछ मिलता था उस time पे. It is not like it is today. There were hardly any people, hardly any companies doing it. And all through my third year, I did this and I made a lot of money. At that time, it was more than pocket money. And I realized the power of internet. So by this time, I was sure and I was fascinated by the muscles. Flipkart ki story, Myntra ki story. I was one of the first few buyers on Myntra. Myntra used to be a customizing apparel company back in 2009-10. मैंने Myntra से order किया था 2009 में, when they were customizing. They put some machines here in this part of Delhi. जापुर मंडी के ऊपर उनका ऑफिस था. So मैं इस सब लेवल तक रिसर्च कर रहा था कि अच्छा what are people doing, और मुझे समझ आ गई थी कि कुछ बहुत बड़ा होने वाला है इंडिया में in e-commerce, especially e-commerce and selling online in the way people are consume online things. So and the ease of online ordering and everything, जो चीजें हो ही नहीं सकती थी कभी ऑफलाइन, वो ऑनलाइन हो रही थी. मैंने वो डिफरेंस क्लियरली देखा, because मेरे घर में around me there were many people who were selling stuff and they had faced numerous challenges in scaling up. So बस यही था. But I still did not take that leap of faith. I joined a company and I went for a large Big Four as an analyst. I left it in 4 days. 4 days left it. It was mindless work. They asked me to fill Excel sheets, copy paste Excel sheets, copy paste. The filter अलग बात होती है. Copy paste एक रो को एक कॉलम को दूसरे शीट पे कॉपी पेस्ट करके देना है. पूरे 6 महीने यही करना था. And then I joined another company thinking कि जो startup होएगा वो भी startup नहीं निकला, वहाँ पे भी same चीज. You were getting that. They were basically they were connecting consultants with companies. So they were mediators. A large company, it's a public company based out of the US, very very large company. In India, they had decent traction in the APAC region. So interesting था. But अब वही फिर से वही काम अभी कब तक करे, मतलब that has worked for 4 months. See, what happens is that when you know your true potential and you know that you are made for bigger things, you have that self-belief, but people don't trust you, then I think एक rubber band है, वो खींचोगे 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 खींचोगे, कभी ना कभी तो टूट जाएगा. मेरा बहुत जल्दी टूट गया. My elasticity probably was very low, तो वो बहुत जल्दी टूट गया मेरा. कई लोगों का 10 साल नहीं टूटता, कई लोगों का कभी नहीं टूटता.
Why is that?
मेरा वो इतनी जल्दी टूट गया कि 4 months then I quit. Then I joined another company. These professors from IIM Ahmedabad started, and that was the real lesson I had in entrepreneurship. In the sense कि startup क्या होता है? Startup कुछ नहीं है. Startup करना सबसे आसान चीज दुनिया की. कुछ भी नहीं है startup करना. एक प्राइवेट कंपनी बनाओ या जो भी करना है, बैंक अकाउंट खुलवाओ, काम करना शुरू करो, पैसे बनाओ और पैसे लगाओ, निकालो. उस टाइम की बात बता रहा हूँ. बट वो पता नहीं था क्या हुआ कि you see something happening from a distance. You see कि अच्छा यार ये तो कर सकते हैं. तो मेरा भी वही हुआ. I worked for 1 year and then by that on the side
क्या था वो दूसरी कंपनी क्या थी? Like they were again consulting.
consulting, logistics consulting, very very niche areas in consulting, and consulting to sub 100 crore companies. So consulting to companies in very niche areas, but let's say fast growing SMEs, but not large companies. So sub 100 crores analyzed them. So I worked there on a cement factory. I worked there in this thing logistics and freight forwarding. So बहुत अच्छा exposure था, बहुत बढ़िया था, because I realized that काम होते कैसे, मतलब एक प्रोजेक्ट आता है उसको it was a very small team but very very smart people in the team. So I got a bird's eye kind of a view of how sales is done, and then a very very close view of how execution is done. So sales mein I did not understand how they're getting the product, and for a 20-year-old 21-year-old guy to understand all of this and also to look at it from a lens of the entire operations, not क्या मेरा क्या काम है. मैं क्या हर जगह पे देखता था कि अच्छा अकाउंट्स कैसे चल रहे हैं, how are they getting sales and what are the payment mechanisms. बहुत सारी चीजें जो इंटीग्रिटीज होती हैं बिजनेस की, वो ध्यान देता था वहाँ पे. phenomenal experience actually because of the learnings I gathered. But as usual कुछ चीजें और भी सीखी वहाँ पे कि यार how not what not to do as a manager, what not to do as a boss, what not to do as a leader. You have to be a good leader, always lead by example and will always be supportive and believe in you. और ये सब चीजें मेरे को बड़ी नेचुरली आती है. लोगों से टीम वर्क, मैं प्रोजेक्ट भी होता था कॉलेज में तो 10 लोगों को इकट्ठा करके प्रोजेक्ट बनवा लूंगा and I'll make sure that nobody fights with each other. मतलब वो मेरा काम. वो people skills थी तो और social skills थी, या फिर मैं बोलूं या फिर just the way the leader has to be both. There's a very fine balance that a leader has. काम करवाने का बैलेंस होता है, काम देने का बैलेंस होता है, एक प्रोजेक्ट पे ऑब्जेक्टिव लाने का बैलेंस होता है. वो वहां पे नहीं था एंड वो एक it was a good lesson कि यार what not to do as a leader मेरे लिए. So तो इस पॉइंट तक ये भी सीख लिया था, शुरू कर दिया था सीखने कि यार what to do तो एक अलग चीज है, what not to do is more important. So that was very interesting, and on the side in 2012 May I started PosterGully. So PosterGully was born out of my own need, my own desire for wall art. I had my walls of my room completely packed with art prints and artwork and posters, movie posters and this and artwork and Andy Warhol stuff, painting. So मेरे को बड़ा इंटरेस्ट था इन सब चीजों में, आर्ट में हमेशा से. बट मुझे उसमें क्योंकि I did not pursue it academically, I never realized that I also have an eye for art, and also it is a topic close to my heart. So कभी उतना मौका नहीं मिला था क्योंकि not was happening around me in the art sphere. So interestingly, PosterGully started, and we started on this journey basically of empowering artists and designers. That was the first thing that we started with. We created a website, we started selling artwork, we started selling some of it was procured, some of it was done by us itself, and was
So you started this alone, or you had co-founders?
I took help, but I had no co-founders. उस टाइम पे this is a good 9-10 years back. there was no idea of co-founders क्या होते हैं, partners क्या होते हैं, अभी क्या दोस्तों को involve कर लिया, जिसको मन किया जिससे जो help करनी है उसको बोल दिया काम कर दे. So there were no co-founders, but there were initially people who could be in the founding team, but because they did not, hustle it out with me, and they did not believe in me or the product for a long time. एक दो महीने तो स्टार्टिंग में क्या था, इंटर्न्स ने भी काम किया है, बहुत लोगों ने और भी काम किया, एंड वी वर ट्राइंग टू फंक्शन एज अ कंपनी. वी वर नेवर अबाउट कि वी आर लाइक व्हाटएवर वर्क्स वाला कंपनी.
How did you launch it? मतलब क्योंकि वेबसाइट बनाने के लिए भी आपको पैसे तो चाहिए होंगे ना?
हाँ यार, hustle. Remember those days? I was not sleeping. I did not sleep. I used to sleep at 5, 6, and 8 बजे को सुबह बस होती थी. I had to go to Okhla, and I slept for.
Your job was in Okhla.
My job was in Okhla, and 2-3 hours I was sleeping, and I gotten used to it, and I was in a pathetic state. I was in a really bad state because I had attached myself to this idea. I had attached myself to this story of PosterGully and the growth that I want, or it will free me from all of the misery that I'm having in my jobs. And this started in March of 2012 till May. It was completely haywire because I had set my eyes on the tech, for example. So I had involved somebody from the tech side, but mostly I was designing. I learned coding. I started coding on Shopify. And Shopify, nobody used in India. I was the first store on Shopify in India. And now Shopify, it's a huge behemoth. But Shopify में काम start किया, designing का काम शुरू किया, marketing, content writing आता था, digital marketing, Facebook explosion चल रहा था, Facebook पे advertising का, उसमें courses किए, SEO किया. SEO की पूरी बाइबल है, गूगल ने लिखी हुई है, जो बहुत पहले 30 पेज बाइबल ऑन SEO की, क्योंकि फाउंडेशन क्या है वो पढ़ी. फेसबुक की एडवर्टाइजिंग शुरू करी, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे इंस्टाग्राम कुछ था नहीं, ट्विटर पे एडवर्टाइजिंग होती नहीं थी, फेसबुक चैनल था सेल्स का. started using Mailchimp उस टाइम पे, और आज के डेट में there is a huge difference. Started using Mailchimp, understood the power of email marketing, and with all of this I was also doing operations, which took almost 80% of my time, because operations was the key, because we were working with these printers, and we were working with these artists and calling management of these artists, and we were working very few at that time, but the management was a pain point. And then quality control, shipping, dispatching. बस मेरे को याद आ रहा है, और मेरे को seriously I'm getting goosebumps right now, because this time of my life I've not really gone back to it and remembered it really, but it was I'm getting visuals in front of me कि वो time क्या था, because like सोता ही नहीं था मैं. My mom was so helpful, but at the same time she was so scared for me, because I stopped sleeping. Yeah, it's a big thing. Stop sleeping. सुबह उठते थे, even on Sundays I'm just calling people, or customer support. Oh my God, I used to handle customer support, and I used to and I'd hired 2 people back then. Hired मतलब कि not hired interns. तो idea नहीं था उस time पे कि hiring होती क्या है. So there was no idea, right, of hiring. But yeah, to cut the long story short, PosterGully grew phenomenally. We went from 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh. Every month I was adding a lakh or 2 lakhs in business.
So when did you decide to quit the job and do it full time? Like how many lakhs were you at by then?
I think we were about 5-6 lakhs a month. This is 2000. This is 2013. Early 2013. This is November 2012 and 2000. क्या हुआ था? There was this competition the BITS planning does. Business plan competition called Conquest. Conquest पे one of my friends forced me to go to Conquest, and I had no idea what a VC is, what an angel investing is, what B plan कैसे बनाते हैं. But बढ़िया से प्रेजेंटेशन बना के लर्न करके सब 2-3 दिन लगा के और चले गए, और एक्शन देखी तो लोग हैरान. वहाँ पे people from top tier VC funds who start to show so much interest. And I said, क्या ये मुझे पता ही नहीं क्या बोल रहे हो. I don't. You are saying this will be a huge printing company, we'll become a B2B printing company, and all this lingo at just in time, print on demand, this, that. And I'm still not thinking on those lines. Things changed. Yeah, that was a tipping point, because I got a investor on board who gave us a term sheet, and that term sheet didn't result in too much, because the fund shut down before they could wire us the money. But that led to me quitting the. They gave us the term sheet. That day I quit my job, and the next 15 days I was out. This is December of 2012, and 2013, I decided and started making targets. I moved into an office, and from that day till November of, April of 2016, we moved 4 offices. Each time we almost doubled the size, more than double.
So once you got into it full time, then were you making money, or were you like, what was your priority then? Okay, अच्छा, let me increase sales, let me get funding, yeah, let me hire people and build a team.
वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग अक्षय, क्योंकि क्या होता है कि अब बेसिक्स तो समझ लिए कि यार हायरिंग होती है, टीम में प्रोसेसेस होते हैं, ऑपरेशंस होते हैं, ऑफिस होता है, ई कॉमर्स में कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर्स होते हैं जो समझने पड़ते हैं, एक्विजिशन कॉस्ट है, and there is a then tech challenge also that you have to solve as you're a tech company. You have to build an in-house tech team, and you can't be micromanaging. By this time, I realized that I have to let go. I cannot micromanage. I have to focus on the key thing, which is hiring people and building these processes, making sure these processes are happening, and make sure that we have enough cash in bank to do all. Good part, Akshay, क्या था कि we were making a lot of, for a 22, 23-year-old to make almost 10 lakhs in net margins every month. It was exploded by the growth hacks that I did. Oh my god! I can write a book on those growth hacks. Email marketing का growth hacks, social marketing के, viral content के, and उस time पे I was creating videos. Videos were did videos. उस time पे I started creating videos. SEO के growth hacks. So man, for 2-3 years I was I was completely in the world of my own. But that was the time I made really good money to make sure that I can continue entrepreneurship. I built really, really phenomenal relationships with some people who I still continue to employ today. Understood यार, मतलब जो 10 साल में होगा वो 1 साल में 6 महीने में कर लिया था. Just because there was a project that was going on, there was a company that needed my attention, and I was ready to give it everything. I never said I will take a backseat. I remember that mera goal, when I had written targets in my office, we had targets to go from 10 lakhs to 50 lakhs in 6 months in monthly top line. And it was probably unachievable, and we did lose money there because we realized that there are some fundamental challenges in the market that we're catering to. But we did achieve it to a sizable portion. So I think the estimates and it was exponential growth for me as a person, for me as an entrepreneur, for the business that we were doing. It was all exponential. It was not linear.
You were profitable as a business, and by when did you get profitable?
यार ऐसा बिजनेस बनाया था ना हमने कि प्रॉफिटेबल इन द 2-3 मंथ ऑफ बिजनेस.
Wow.
क्या था तो मैं करता ही नहीं ना, समझ ही ना आता मुझे, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे पैसे थे नहीं. 1 लाख रुपए टोटल थे मेरे पास. मैंने और अपनी बहन से कुछ पैसे लिए थे क्रेडिट कार्ड पे, उससे क्रेडिट कार्ड चार्ज करवाता था मैं फेसबुक ऐड के लिए, और कुछ था ही नहीं ज्यादा. तो क्या लॉस में कब तक करोगे? लॉस तो वो खा सकते हैं ना, पैसा हो, हम तो लॉस खा ही नहीं सकते. पैसा ही नहीं था. टोटल बिजनेस में अराउंड 2 लाख रुपए लगे थे टोटल स्टार्ट करने के. That never really became a point of contention that we can lose money. But of course, once we started making money and there was surplus cash, then when we started to understand, I personally started to understand what working capital, what cash flows are really like. Oh, profitable the, heavily profitable the, net margins of up to 70-80%. Lean team थी, drop shipping model था कई vendors के साथ. ऐसा business create किया था. मैं बोल रहा हूँ, it's a playbook. It cannot be replicated because I tried it sometime later in my entrepreneurial journey. PosterGully cannot be replicated. That cannot be replicated. उस टाइम के जोश में, उस टाइम की ना समझ में, और उस टाइम के किस्मत के साथ ही.
So why did you raise funds then? 2015 you raised funds. So मतलब if you were profitable तो
नहीं पता था.
अच्छा.
नहीं पता था कि पैसे रेज करने का. मैं एक्सीलरेटर प्रोग्राम में चला गया यार. I was at a 20 lakh monthly run rate. I went to an accelerator program. यहाँ पे 6-7% equity ले ली थी, अंडर वैल्यू करती थी पूरी कंपनी को. And I'm not blaming them, not at all. It was, as an entrepreneur, I should have known. As a founder, I should have known what's right for me, what's not right for me. And of course यार, एक क्या होता है जब आपके पास पैसा नहीं होता, it is always interesting to get capital. And when you are a 23-year-old, because I raised my first round of funding at 23, and you are getting money from people like VSS from Paytm, and Dinesh from India Mart, and Art Matrimony's founder, Anupam Mittal, and all of these very, very well-known entrepreneurs, the lust of getting connected to them itself is so big. I'm being very, very open and frank with you, and that is probably the only reason I took that money. And then capital never solves problems. This is the Bible that I've this is written on my office walls. Money cannot solve problems. Business model, business model your way out of a shitty product. Okay. तो वो सब चीजें होती नहीं है, तो वो सब चीजें, लेकिन I understood and I realized that that only later on कि यार 10-15 लाख की क्या वैल्यू थी, मेरा मंथली रन रेट उससे कम था, उससे ज्यादा था उस टाइम पे. But because we raised once, then we raised another round of funding, and by then, okay, another thing I think I missed out on that कि aspirations बदल गए थे यार. उस टाइम पे एस्पिरेशंस थे यार कि 100 करोड़ की कंपनी बनानी है, बड़ी कंपनी बनानी है. जब आप 5-6 करोड़ के टॉप पे होते हो तो उस टाइम पे था कि यार I have to build a large organization because there is demand. We are extremely underpenetrated and बहुत एक बड़ी स्टोरी बन सकती है. PosterGully एक सक्सेसफुल ब्रांड है, फर्स्ट मूवर एडवांटेज है, लोगों को पता है, एंड वर्टिकली a lot of these things in the playbook were there. So aspirations change, and once that changes, raising money for us was not a huge challenge because the books were beautiful. We had something really noteworthy, and that is when the funding came in, and then we exploded, and we raised 15. We raised another round of funding, and towards the end of 2016, initially we went out fundraising again, got an acquisition offer.
So, बट आपने फंड रेज करके उस फंड्स का किया क्या? आपके तो सरप्लस जनरेट हो रहा था कैश.
एक सरप्लस जनरेट होता है, बट you look how brands are built and how VCs work, how investors are not interested in businesses that will give them a 2x 3x return. When I mean investors, I mean venture capitalists. They are not in this case, they are not interested in यार 2%-3% मिल जाए, उसमें कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं. They are interested in humongous returns. That's how they can justify their investment and that one blockbuster hit that they get out of that, 2 hits that they get. So because of that, they also believe, and because of this mechanism, there is also a belief that capital can buy growth. मतलब जैसे हम पहले 1 रुपए खर्च के 2 रुपए के ऑर्डर लाते थे, हम 2 रुपए खर्च के 3 रुपए के ऑर्डर ला रहे हैं, या 3 रुपए खर्च के 3 रुपए के ऑर्डर ला रहे हैं. मतलब we are not in the same cost structures because we are buying customers, we are buying growth, right? And in retrospect, it was not the best thing to do. It definitely shoots up your valuation. It definitely shot up our valuation. And it had already been a good 4 years I was running the business, approximately around 4 years, and I had burned out. So वो burnout के phase पे था मैं, and valuation अच्छी थी. Investors ने marketing expenses के लिए ही पैसा हमने raise किया था largely. We had to acquire more and more customers basically, and that is what we did. Up fundamentally, your money can do whatever. Some people can raise money to build their techs, but we were at a stage where we said, okay, we have a hot car right now. Let's push the pedal and let's make it hotter.
So how did the exit happen? Who bought you out, and what was that process like?
So 2016 early, we were we went into fundraising, and we had to raise a sizably larger round than we had raised before. So we met, meeting these angel investors. So I met an angel investor, and he basically had something going on in his mind regarding their exhibition business, and they wanted to kind of build something in the online space, a B2B e-commerce marketplace, with a discovery engine on top of it. It was more like social commerce and B2B commerce, and it was very much in connect with their offline business, which was a very large business. And they had also very recently exited a part of that business to a private equity fund, and also to buyers in the UK who run large exhibition companies. I think probably the largest. So they of course wanted to, I think, experiment with and also understand digital. They wanted to go digital and online. They wanted to take their business online, and there was a lot of sync with the promoters there and myself. And they had proposed basically an acquisition, which basically give us a resulting company which would then have the shareholding of the PosterGully shareholders, including the founder, and the promoters would put in capital. And they had proposed, and we mutually agreed to this particular sum of money that would go into this new entity. That's how the deal was structured. It took 6 months, and the acquisition was complete. It paid out equity to initial investors and also to me, and it was a very lucrative deal, so to speak, at that time for a 25-year-old.
So they were expecting that you will continue to work, and they were clear that you want to exit. जब deal हुआ.
This new entity, there was clear expectation that I will grow it. That was also of interest to me. Otherwise, the interest was not there. Pure exit was not something that I was interested in. But this new entity with capital coming in and see क्या होता है कि businesses में ना अक्षय biggest challenge is capital. ये journey होती है and near death experiences बहुत बारी आते हैं कंपनी की journey. पैसा है तो नहीं भी हो सकता due to some mistakes or experiments or market conditions or macro conditions that go on. So अब वो पैसा कंट्रोल कर.
तो आपको कैश मिला या आपको इक्विटी मिली जब पोस्टरगली एक्वायर हुआ?
A bit of both.
How much cash are you at liberty to say?
That I can't disclose.
मतलब enough to buy a house in Delhi. Okay, मतलब South Delhi house शायद नहीं होगा. Is that what you're saying?
South Delhi हो सकता है, maybe छतरपुर के farm houses ना हो.
अच्छा, okay, ठीक है. So then 16 में acquisition हुआ, फिर उसके बाद you stuck on to what was the new entity called?
The new entity was called Gopal Infotech Private Limited. The name of the brand was decor.
ठीक है. So you were like the CEO of the new entity.
Yes. CEO and director in the company, just control and taking all the decisions, and of course, operationally running it with the team. So, of course, it was just that this new company had no capital problems. So I could focus on running the business. I could focus on building a team, making sure that we create something defensible, something that the market wants, and to grow the business and to generate revenues. So all of that was there. मतलब यही था, मोटा यही था कि this new entity would basically, it was run from Delhi and Bombay both, and there was resources at disposal that we could use of the parent company. All of that was there.
So did the same kind of traction continue जैसे आपकी पोस्टरगली traction हो रही थी?
No. We spent time in building the product. We took time building the product. Some of the most difficult times of being an entrepreneur I was there because there was there was a lot of support from the promoters, but at the same time communication gaps were there, and how traditional companies are run, they have middle management. Sometimes that's not very accepting of change.
सबके fiefdoms होते हैं and people don't like you to get into their fiefdom.
Yes, exactly. And just people are not very welcoming of change, and that is why a lot of traditional companies suffer. While the promoters want change, but they can't do the dirty work after a while. When you are a 45-year-old and 40-year-old and you have been there, done that, you can get work done. You can make things, put your money work for you. But yeah, there were a lot of learnings, man. But how बहुत सारी learnings this time. But this was the time when I learned the maximum about business, because I was getting that perspective, how large companies are run, or how traditional companies in India, are run, and how to scale companies, how finances are managed, and how to B2B sales. I had not done B2B sales before. That was there. We used to run a print magazine. वो कैसे होता है, print magazine sales कैसे होती है, advertising business कैसे चलता है, and we did an exhibition, 2-3 exhibitions also, so how the exhibition business works. But on ground, एक बहुत अच्छा एक वो मिला है. It's very difficult to put this into words, but I got experience of the other end of this spectrum, which is how large companies have been running for a long time.
But were you happy there?
I was happy. I was definitely very happy that I did not have to go through capital issues or fundraising or just scaling. करेंगे तो there was enough meat on the plate. This thing was yet to scale. I was happy there. To look back now, probably not. But at that time, it was a good decision, because in retrospect, I have no regrets, of course. But वो perspective life में बहुत जरूरी था. नहीं तो एक similar kind of perspective मिलता कि शायद this is how things are done this way, but they're done the other way, and how these happen, how things are built, बहुत चीजें सीखी उस time पे, and how to put your money to work, and how decision making is done quickly, sales teams, investment versus marketing team investment, this, that, all these things सीखी, but control was there, but there was, I would say, the only thing that lacked was a lack of vision. My vision started to interfere at some point with their vision, and their vision was unclear to me. So I could not even work in that direction. So because I was there and the cap table was extremely complex, the equity table was extremely complex, and I just at that time I felt okay. The best decision would be to let it happen, and I decided, and me and the promoters mutually decided that it's best that the company continues to run, and I kind of slowly exit, and in 2-3 months I exited.
So at that stage, when you exited, so did you again get cash for your stake, or it remained on paper?
Oh, no, this was more of a amicable exit, yeah. This was more about saying that probably could not build the business the way both of us wanted to, and it's nobody's fault. But it's better to part ways now, because we don't want to continue to invest in this, and also we don't. And I didn't see that doing Delhi, Bombay, and doing all of these, taking part in their other traditional businesses and activities, their other businesses made sense to me. It was not an area of interest for me. Although I would have slowly going there, I was slowly started to look at their parent companies, activities, and they had a calendar and building teams, and so there was a lot of chaos, man. But at the same time, I think I was extremely impressed and close to the promoter. There were two brothers, and he was extremely supportive, very cordial at all times. A hardcore entrepreneur. So much to learn from them. I think even if I do 5% learn what they've learned over the years, that would be phenomenal, because they're so smart and extremely skilled at what they do. So yeah, I mean, I was extremely impressed. I was extremely impressed, but it just didn't make sense for both of us to continue. It was very amicable. It was not an exit that would make anyone wealthy, but it was definitely the right time to do, because I was bombarded with ideas, man. At that time, in 2017, I was absolutely.
You were getting impatient.
I was getting impatient, and what was the right word for it? But I was brimming with ideas. I could not control it. I had this book, and I started to write down a lot of ideas. And when I was working there, and I was absolutely focused, and I decided that I would take time off, because now it has been good 6 years in entrepreneurship, and 1 year in entrepreneurship is probably 3-4 years easily in any kind of other job. So I had spent like massive amount of time for businesses, for work that I was doing, and really forgotten. I was not playing any sport. I was not being fit. I was not doing what I wanted to do. Of course, I used to travel, and that was the only the extracurricular thing that I was doing. Otherwise, it was 12 hours of straight business every day. And the biggest challenge with iDecor was that we were focused on something that was not my core. We were focused on 2 or 3 things that were not my core, which was B2B sales, technology. Of course, there are teams that are built with this. What we tried to build, we messed up with the team. I really could not build a stable team, because I could not hire, or I did not hire a stable leader to build that tech team. So there were many learnings, और उन learnings की वजह से ही Sonavan Commerce Private Limited started in 2018 February. I started the company, and of course I had ideas. I was not sure what I want to do with this company yet, but I was definitely sure that I want to go into direct to consumer and brands, and those are my things: branding, marketing, e-commerce, operations and supply chain technologies, integration of teams at the bottom, lean mechanics, lean startup, कैसे करना है, 1 करोड़ रुपए में 10 लोगों का धंधा कैसे करना है, इन चीजों, this is what I know. So I focused on this with complete control, of course, and I learned a lot. वो जो 6-7 साल में सीखा, I started with the playbook, and I did not start with the playbook. and I said that this is my playbook. I created my own playbook and I said this is where I want to be. This is the vision of this company. This is the brand guide of this company. This is what we'll do. 2 साल 3 साल 5 साल का plan बना के लिखा जब पता था कि ये करना है. And distribution, there was another distribution brand that I had started and I had failed at it 3-4 months. I was just doing pilots for it. Failed तो नहीं बोलूँ because we did not never it took it off, but we were doing pilots. वो 3-4 महीने में जो सीखा, जितना सीखा, just to document everything. So 2018 for me was about two things, about getting perspective. I traveled, I got perspective. By this time I had done about 19 countries. So in 7 years, I had traveled to 18 countries and I had so much perspective on branding and retail of CPG goods. And very interesting area. There's always the area of focus. Even PosterGully time, I used to see these companies start to do really well. Gymshark and direct-to-consumer companies like Casper in the US and food companies. I thought कि इंडिया में अभी टाइम नहीं है, जब आएगा लेकिन I want to get into it. And I remember मैं बहुत रिसर्च करता था इसके 2014 में when I was doing PosterGully. So I used to research a lot because I was very attracted to the idea of buying food online. Extremely attracted because I know the operations, I know the back end, I know what can change. Your entire business can change, man. Like इतना कुछ कर सकते हो and operation structures. Of course, the fundamentals remain of an FMCG company. बट स्टिल कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर बदल जाते हैं, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. तो करना था, बट मुझे 2018 सही टाइम लगा, बहुत अच्छा टाइम लगा करने के लिए. मैंने went in with everything. I said I put all of my savings, almost over 1 crore of my savings into this, and I put out a 2-year 3-year plan. इस ऐसे खर्च करना है, यहाँ खर्च करना है, ये टीम बनानी है. और you see the difference now. अक्षय वो 2012 का entrepreneur में और 2018 तक मैं इतना हो गया था कि मैंने अपनी टीम, जो मेरी कोर टीम है, जो मेरी 6 लोगों की कोर टीम है, जो मेरे साथ स्टार्टिंग से थे लोग, PosterGully के सेकंड ईयर ऑफ बिजनेस से, I did not let them go for the entire year. I said I will pay salaries, I will not deduct any salaries, थोड़ा बहुत बिल होगा, but maximum said I will continue to support you. I know there is no work right now, there is nothing, office hours. Let's come to office, let's do whatever. So time बड़ा ही interesting था. It was, I was Bharat again. I was Bharat को PosterGully से ही पहले था, जो उस टाइम में किया. I was at the peak of my curiosity, also at the peak of my performance. Productivity levels were massive, and I started to do spiritually. थोड़ा सा दूसरा था उन चीजों में, तो I'm very centered as an entrepreneur and very relaxed, calm. मतलब इतना पैसा भी लगा कि मतलब ऐसा आंख नहीं झपकाई एक बारी भी क्या नहीं होगा. I fundamentally believe this will work. I knew this will work.
How many months did it take you to zero in on coffee as your product?
About 4-5 months. But I had experience in nutraceuticals because I had again started something that इसी time में. So Somavan में there was nutraceuticals was a very interesting thing because I got attracted to vitamins, minerals, supplements, this kind of thing. And all natural nootropics kind of thing, that year itself. So then, and again, supplements, vitamins and supplements, if you look at the market side, it's extremely underpenetrated in India. And मेरे को बड़ा interest था because US market is 50% people take there, and India against like mutual funds 2-3% India mutual funds करवाती है, तो बहुत बड़ी मार्केट है. कोई भी प्लेयर आता है, वो अगर बड़ी मार्केट है, but it's a very tough market to crack. Similarly of such markets, so बहुत सारी लर्निंग्स थी, सारी लर्निंग्स कंडेंस करी. अभी 3 लर्निंग्स है कि इट्स वेरी हार्ड टू से, इट्स ओनली द आउटपुट दैट कैन से फॉर इट, राइट? कि आउटपुट क्या था, इज सक्सेसफुल और नॉट. सो कॉफी स्टार्टेड विद द आइडिया कि यार देयर इज अ नीड दैट आई हैव, एंड द मार्केट अपॉर्चुनिटी केम आफ्टर दैट नीड दैट वाज जनरेटेड कि प्री वर्कआउट कॉफी भी चाहिए, फंक्शनल कॉफी भी चाहिए, हाई एंड कॉफी एक्सपीरियंस कैसे ले हमेशा. And a lot of these questions I answered, I asked, and the market of coffee was interesting. It's a competitive space, of course, with legacy giants, but I decided to play in large markets. I decided to play in competitive large markets with Somavan. I did not want to play in smaller markets because the chances of losing smaller markets are enough. And when you are investing your heart, soul, energy, and your team's efforts in something, it's okay if it takes 2-3 years. क्या था ना, I had a 10-year plan. It might sound funny, it might sound find very funny to some people. But मैं किसी को बोल दूँ उसमें हंसता है मेरे पे, कह रहा है यार क्या 10 किसने देखी? मैं 10-year plan. I did not have a 2-year, 3-year, 1-year plan or 6-month plan. I had a 10-year plan. I have to create a brand that can stand the test of time. And I went on to buy a domain for 60,000. I went on things that typically in my entrepreneurship journey I would have never done. I went on to buy a 5-letter domain for 1.5 lakhs, not using it. I ended up not using it.
So the first product you started was IUR, like the nutraceutical.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And this would be like, say there are these multi-level marketing companies like Amway has a nutraceutical line, or there's this Forever Living. So this would be like on similar lines as what those companies have.
Absolutely not. See, what happens is that the power of internet comes into play again. Why direct selling models work? Why Amway of the world flourished and Tupperwares of the world flourished with direct selling? Herbalife, for example. Many companies in apparels and food do flourish with such models is because these things sell on trust. These things sell on word of mouth, right? When internet gives you that power of word of mouth and that trust through reviews, feedback, videos, testimonials, brand building, the game changes. So in this case, that's what I figured out, that the market will change because all of these trust creating aspects can happen, and then you can pass on the benefits of going direct to consumer through this model, which is you sell it online, create that brand pull, build a sizable brand, understand the cost structures, and go after it. So that is what we went after.
So, but I mean, it was essentially like similar kind of products catering to the same set of people. Like somebody who would be interested in buying a Amway would also be someone who would be your customer. Like similar health benefits.
It could be the starting point of my journey, honestly. But when I started doing the research, I realized that superfoods is a category that is very, very underpenetrated, and you want to buy trusted, superfoods and plant-based foods. So, I think the thesis changed from nutritional benefits to saying science-backed ingredients. That have gotten some level of clinical studies done on them, and to understand how we went to the source and we went to the origins. We focused on testing and certification. So this is how trust is built, right? So clean labels, 100%, no binders, no solvents, no agents, no anything, no fuss packaging, HPLC encapsulations, which is completely vegan, so we did not use gelatin. So yeah, there were many things, but the fundamentals were that we wanted to do something, and then when the ingredients started to play out for us, when I started to understand, there is again, to give you some perspective, Akshay, it took time. बोलना थोड़ा सा आसान है इसको, but it took me a long time, and मतलब 15 घंटे, मतलब working hours to understand कि अच्छा कीवर्ड पे जाके देखा, कॉलिंग करी, समझा, लोगों से जाके क्या एक प्रोडक्ट निकालने के लिए टाइम लगता है बहुत, and I did not initially any food consultants. So I was going by the market that I knew, and also completely based on customers' needs and the data that I had. So a mix of customers plus data, and then arriving at a point where we can go out to the market and say, oh, let's test it now.
So what was the first product you launched?
We launched 5-6 products together, but we launched something known as curcumin, which is the active ingredient of turmeric. We launched something known as rhodiola rosea, which we were from Siberia. Then we launched something known as milk thistle, which is silverine for liver. We launched a bunch of Indian products also. Boswellia we launched for bones and joints, etc. So yeah, it's about 5-6 different products, and then we added some more products.
So this itself is like a very large market of nutraceuticals. Why did you decide to also take on another large market of coffee?
I decided to, when I started to work, we were generating some healthy business. I wanted to, so coffee was always there, by the way. Coffee, when this was happening, coffee was also happening on the side. But go-to-market for coffee was longer because we struggled at possibly all levels while doing coffee, because we wanted the packaging to be unique. We wanted single servings. We wanted PET biodegradable. We wanted, and it was all being imported into India only. So we had to import the mold and then give it to somebody here who did that mold and then OTP also. We wanted to be backwardly integrated, not to the level of where we wanted to reinvent the wheel, but I wanted to be in control of the supply chain to a level to possibly to the extent of whatever does not derail us from our core business of marketing, sales, and also direct to consumer distribution. But because I had so much experience, I had so much experience by then of doing manufacturing in a very team way, and have the team on ground, understood the fundamentals of manufacturing for a D2C business. How just because PosterGully was a just-in-time business, on-demand business, so it was as chaotic as manufacturing could ever get, right? Personalized, customized business. Okay. So, वो करना था तो reach took time because we wanted to create something substantially different. So different that now the product, of course, it's been a good long time. There's nothing like it. Still all being imported into India. All of the flavors that we do, at double the cost, and the product that we have is small batch crystallized. Nobody does small batch crystallization in India, which gives instant coffee. So instant coffee is different from ground coffee. Okay, so instant coffee is the toughest product to make. Roast, you get the coffee beans, and you, of course, at the level where the farmers are involved, and then you process it, and then you get the beans out of the fruits, and then you roast it and you ground it. One get ground coffee. पूरे world में चलता. Instant coffee is why it has been in business for only the legacy giants, is because it's a very tough category to break into. There are various barriers into it, So then it was great because I wanted to get into a business that was a large market, but still had those entry barriers. Entry barriers make a business defensible, and this product is plant-based vitamins, and gave you a very distinctive cake, and we did since from August till December we just did tastings, and we changed the product almost 50% in these 5-6 months.
So tell me, how is instant coffee made?
There are 3 different processes largely. One would be which is a typical model wherein you make juice basically heat. It's called a spray drying process. So you have the basically have the liquid coffee concoction basically. You mix it with water, ground coffee, water के साथ mix करके, and then you dehydrate it. Then which is basically because of the water content, it will then become soluble. Okay, that is one process. Another process is to agglomerate, which is basically mix of spray drying techniques, but done in a different way, vertical way. उसमें क्या होता है, chunks बन जाते हैं आपके.
जो granules होते हैं, जो costly coffee के जो granules होते हैं.
Correct. Now the process that we use is freeze drying. Freeze drying far more superior because it is not it is not heating the coffee, so it doesn't deflavor the coffee to a large extent, and it keeps the freshness there. And if it is done in the right way, it can create a very very differentiable taste compared to that.
पानी कहाँ जाता है?
पानी तो जाता है ना. You basically dehydrate it at very very low temperatures.
Okay. So it takes a much longer time.
So it takes not longer time. It's actually it's a fast process, but it is a complex process. There's wastage, and those chunks have to be size enough, big enough, so that it is there. It does not have to be powdery, right? Because then it has the coffee has more body, so to speak, instant coffee, and it gives you a more it will give you better mouthfeel. So yeah, all of that is there. But having said that, coffee crystallization process that I've just told you about, some players do it, but ours is done in a different way where we crystallize it in small batch. And thus, there's no chicory. Maximum 90%, 95% coffee in India have chicory. It's a very South Indian filter coffee kind of taste, but also is not coffee. It's not a great coffee experience. And people try to take the coffee really seriously all over the world, and I believe that it will come to India sooner or later. Right? Probably it's there only for a minor population, but it's going to come, and we're playing on that market. As I told you, we have a 10-year plan at least.
If I were a VC, probably my biggest concern would be that you are fighting 2 very big battles. Well, nutraceutical itself is like a...
Yeah. So nutraceutical we faded out.
Okay. Got it.
That business we faded out completely last year. Yes, absolutely. We did not want to run 2 brands, and we faded out with a very heavy heart, honestly. I'll be very, very candid with you. I took that decision, but my decision really fructified, and because it is a complex business, of course, and we don't want to be running brands, but it also gave us a lot of understanding of this market. Otherwise, rates would have taken more time to come to market. Probably another 6-7 months would have gone into launching the product itself. But yeah, I completely, I think I know where you were going to. I knew only some stocks were still left, so we were clearing it out early this year.
But I still like, is it doing well or not? But anyone listening to the show would want to know, okay, are you doing well in the coffee business?
So Akshay, I will give you some data on this. Uh, we are growing at over 50% month on month, and we are present in about 500 outlets. We are present on all online horizontal marketplaces. We raised our first small round of funding in July of 2019. It's not a big check, but because of the growth, that we saw and the brand saw, we raised a round of funding last year in December from a VC fund called Reflex Capital, and that funding round was joined by investors, basically, who are industry leaders, people who have been in the industry for a long time. For example, joint MD of Cabin Care and founder and MD of Wazir Advisors, who've been a part of very very large successful VC exits in India. There was Forum Chennai. There was the CEO of TVS Electronics, former CEO of TVS Electronics. There was a seasoned P investor. There was the TV actor Ranvijay who was a part of this round, and a bunch of others. So we raised a round at great terms for us, and that could only possibly happen if the business was doing really well. And the capital that we raised was largely going to be used on launching innovative new products to scale up backend production and strengthen the team, expand our omni-channel distribution. In the last 6 months, since we have raised that capital, we've been growing the business at 50% month on month, and we have hardly used capital.
So, was it easier to do fundraise, this being the second venture? Did you already have connects with investors and VCs that you could bank on? How was that journey?
Akshay, fundraising is probably the toughest part of being an entrepreneur. It is very, very challenging, and raising capital at your own terms is never easy, no matter what you are doing. Unless you have had a class A, kind of $100 million plus exit, VCs tend to look at it as one of the only signals. There are several other factors: the business, its growth, the credibility of the team, is the market opportunity attractive enough or not. So there are various things, but I think it's also the condition of the entrepreneur that drives VCs more than the VCs driving the entrepreneurs, because VCs do not understand a lot of markets. They take these bits and bits from the entrepreneurs, right? So it was not easy. It was more difficult actually, because PosterGully had a history when we raised funding. It was running, and the PosterGully business did not need capital, so it was always okay. I don't care. But definitely my aspiration, was to build a 500 crore top line company by 2025. So if I have to do that, I need external capital. Either I need debt, either I need working capital loans, or I need. So yeah, we also had debt offers. Could have gone that way, but since equity is what I understand, equity is what is very valuable, because people join your board, who join your company as investors and partners. They're able to add value also in ways which is money can't buy. So I'm very very fortunate, lucky, and it has been extremely challenging, Akshay. I cannot emphasize more about the fundraising aspect. I cannot emphasize more that fundraising is a very strenuous, tough journey for entrepreneurs to take. It is also very, I would say, you need to be in the right mind space to do fundraising, because it's very demotivating. It's like, I don't want to use any wrong words, but it's like you feel really shit because you're doing something that is of value, and you are dependent on only these limited investors. Because India is a nascent VC market. India has a lot of entrepreneurs, massive amount of startup growth has happened, but the same amount of funding or capital, outlets have not opened up. And yeah, I mean, another thing that I would like to tell you is a lot of VCs are not entrepreneurs, so they always look at investing from a Excel sheet point of view, from a workbook point of view, which is perfectly fine. That is their business. They really know their business. They're very, very smart, talented people. They know what they do. But VCs who have been entrepreneurs before tend to do slightly better. I have seen that. They can be a little bit more emotional, to the entrepreneurs, and can cater to their emotional needs also.
They listen to the gut.
They listen to the gut. Absolutely, they listen to the gut. They follow the gut, and that also really matters. But I will. Now that we're talking, I remember this. I'll quickly share it with you. This VC fund. I have not discussed much about it earlier, but this VC fund came to me last year in January. I had just started Rage, and in February, I think we figured out time for a call or something. March, I think we met, and in April, after several discussions, we had a term sheet. And we were very small because Rage was small at that time. We were still starting out. We were not very aggressive. We were still making sure that we reached that 10,000 kind of customer base level. The feedback on the product, I'm not a first time entrepreneur. I'm not an amateur entrepreneur. I really know how to go in the long haul. But they pressurizing, we have to do this, and because we had another term sheet from a Hong Kong based fund, and they gave us 7 to 10 days to make a decision because I was holding that term sheet for over a month. And so they gave me a term sheet in desperation or whatever. And then before they started their due diligence, they showed, and after I had signed the term sheet, they really showed their true colors and their true character, because they put me with an analyst and started to really, interrogate us on things that did not matter about the business. Interrogation is very good DD point of view, right? You're asking us to continuously disclose our IP, disclose our, so many confidential information, and then they are constantly asking us about the business things that, it was every day it was about struggle, because you're talking, we are perfectly fine not doing this. And I was not looking to raise capital at that time actively. It came to us. I said I got vested in it. They got me to sign a term sheet. So, and then I think about a month of all this to and fro happened, and I should not have done in retrospect. And then one fine day say, oh, we're not able to start the DD. So, and that's the last I spoke with them. But it can, and I'm telling you this because raising capital is an after effect of entrepreneurship. It cannot be the thing that you do first, and fundraising or is glamorized. I don't know why. It devours you. It leaves you with little of your company eventually. Of course, probably a large company. I think the probability of you being successful without one fundraising in the long term is far greater than being successful with fundraising. Fundraising is a zero-sum game. You either become great or you become zero. There is nothing in between. If there is something in between, then it cannot happen for a long time. So fundraising should not be glamorous. I keep telling young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general who ask me about this that fundraising should come to you, but be strong as an entrepreneur. Hold on. I've made those mistakes, but hold on to your ground. Make sure that you are not desperate to get funds. Start something that fundamentally can become profitable, can fundamentally generate great business, and is based on some fundamentally strong business models. The foundation is the strong of your business, so that you don't have to go out and start fundraising from the day zero of your business. Yes, if you are building something strong, if you're building something great, funds will come to you in one way or another. Either your customers will funds, banks will give you funds, private equity investors will give you funds, venture capitalists will give you funds, or friends and families will give you funds. आप कुछ sizable, interesting बनाओ तो.
So, when you brought on these big names as your investors, did you have to hustle and network and reach out to them, or was it relatively easy, send them a mail and they reply? In general, how difficult is it to pitch to big names?
See, it's a network effect. What happens is these are very, very tight circles. Very rarely would you see angel investors invest without co-investors that they believe. Okay, so it's a tight circle. You have to penetrate that circle. You have to find some anchor who's credible in your industry. You have to make him or her believe. Okay, so that's point number one. Co-investing happens largely, and co-investments typically are done on the face or on the word of one or two anchor investors. So that's one. Secondly, sending an email is good for meetings. Probably you will get a meeting. So, I definitely have sent some cold emails and WhatsApp messages, and I've gotten meetings for sure. But a large part of these investors that I have, very fortunate to have them, are basically people who believe in this one anchor investor and this one fund, right? Who are a part of this, deals that they do. So For example, so there are these angel funds. The angel funds are members. When an angel fund floats a deal, then the members can be a part of it. If somebody who's very versed in that field or who is known for his investing skills invests, then there are other people who tend to follow him. So it's a herd mentality. To be very, very honest with you, it's a lot of herd mentality. See, as it is, these are very, very risky investments. People tend to be more sure of the investments if they have somebody credible participating in the round with them. So that's my second point. And the third is, cold emailing, cold calling, cold WhatsApp messages do work, but yeah, they're good to get meetings. But I would still say that it is you could spend a lot of time doing it without them resulting into anything. So I think the best would be to get connections. See, a lot of these VC funds and these investors believe in you, or you are more credible because if you go through a mediator, or if you go through a mediator, I mean somebody who's well versed or well connected in the scene. Okay, so if they are getting a request from somebody they know of meeting you, or getting on a call with you, it becomes easier. And these people get, as I told you, there's a demand supply gap. These people get easily 15 to 20 pitches in a day, easily, if not, and they have to make 4 or 5 investments in a year. You think there is a massive demand, there's a massive gap. They're getting over 300 to 400 pitches in a single month, probably more. So if somebody is getting almost 500, 400 pitches in a single month, and they have to make 4 investments in one annual year, the chances are very, very low of you doing something normal. You have to be a completely different path. I'll tell you, we started fundraising last year in May, and it took 6 months to close the launch. It's a long journey. It's a very stressful, long journey, and you have to be extremely convinced, and many, many, many things have to play out for you. I started to be a Kunal Shah. That's a different story. Not everybody is Kunal Shah. Or people, Kunal Shah is the founder of Cred. So when he exited Free Charge, he had investors waiting for him. Or you can also Mukesh Bansal, or So all these guys, they have they've proved themselves. They have proved they are capable of giving massive returns to their investors. 99.9% of us, are still to prove it. So as entrepreneurs, we have to prove ourselves by all these dots that you have to connect. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the chances of you fundraising are far, far, far lower than the chances of you building a successful business. So better to do.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. So my last question, what next for Rage as a company? Are you looking at diversifying beyond coffee, or what's like the game plan?
We have a lot to do, especially COVID has kind of given us a completely new angle, because there is our biggest competition, coffee shops, are shut right now, so we have to completely play out to that. We have very, very big plans. We have when it comes to marketing, we're still to explore a lot of marketing strategies. When it comes to the team, we have to definitely build get better people, and we have to build a team that is really justifying the growth of the company. When it comes to distribution, we've not even done 1%. So going out and making sure that Rage Coffee is present wherever our customers are there, no matter where it is, offline, online. So we are an omni-channel company, very, very proud to be omni-channel in India. And when it comes to the products, we are working on some exceptionally differentiated products. So because Rage believes, our thesis is that we will not launch anything till it's fundamentally different, or a category creator or a category killer. So I have to make sure that we launch something that either wins on the pricing, on the quality, on the market that we are catering to, and so all of that. So we are, for example, launching ready to drink. COVID has delayed our plans. We are working on more flavors. We are working on cold brew DIY kit right now that we'll be launching next month with the ground coffee that we'll be launching. So we have a good almost 24-month product mix plan ready. Beyond that, we have been innovating in the caffeine space and the functional caffeine space. So we are caffeine mints, gums, chewables, that market. We are looking to innovate in some instant without equipment coffee, which is some kind of coffee cubes that we're working on. Working on a bunch of things, man. So a lot of things when it comes to the product mix. But overall, I think Rage as a brand is, penetrating the mind space of the consumer more and more, and that is the most important thing to us.
Beyond Campus is a production of the Podium.in, powered by Career Launcher. If you like this show, then we are sure that you will love our other shows on subjects like entrepreneurship, marketing, books, and drama. Check out the Podium.in for a complete list of all our shows.